Full time, Liverpool 0, PSG 1. It went to extra time because it was 1-1 in aggregate. Harvey Elliott's goal at the Parc des France was cancelled out by Dembele after about 12 minutes. Liverpool started the game really well. Thought the tempo, the intensity was exactly what we needed tonight, really, to set the tone, to let PSG know that they was going to be in with a battle. Unfortunately, the big moments and the big chances in the game just went begging for Liverpool tonight, especially when it mattered most in terms of that final third and creating the magic. You know, at Anfield, a place where, you know, you don't expect teams to come to Anfield and them to be able to be the ones to keep the clean sheet. This PSG side have done it. You've got to give them a lot of credit. They're celebrating on the pitch there, and understandably so. They've poured a lot into that. And the gutting thing is, in terms of the permutations now for the remainder of the week, let's just kind of look purely just at that. And we've just put in a massive effort on extra time to try and go through. I can turn this off now, can't I? Thank you. Yeah, we've just put in a massive effort levels to get it into extra time and to try and win it in a penalty shootout. And a penalty shootout is always a gamble, but I think that will have a knock-on effect now. The lads are going to have to pick themselves up because they've got a cup final that they're going to need to get ready for. I don't necessarily think over the two legs PSG were marginally better than Liverpool. I don't even think he was. Yeah, I don't think he was miles better than us. I think if anything, it was very fine margins. When it mattered most, though, we just didn't have anything clinical in front of goal. And I think, you know, we can get into it. We can have a look at the chat now, and we can see what, you know, you guys are saying and what your thoughts are. But yeah, I'm gutted. I know everybody else around us now will be gutted. It'll be a difficult couple of days, but we have got a final that we need to kind of cast our eye towards as well, and not forget the bigger picture. Yeah, it says now let's all watch the season fall off. The rails, spineless, gutless, 2 winners tonight, PSG and Newcastle. I mean, Andy, I wouldn't write the season off after that. You know, it's definitely not the way that we wanted things to be or things to go. I just genuinely think we should have just done better in the 90 minutes. I was on it, and again, I said to Steve, I probably wouldn't have put Darwin on a penalty. When he steps up, you've got to back him, and you've got to hope that he can get it over the line and do his job. It's not the worst pen I've ever seen, but Donnarumma, as Steve said a couple of times, is a massive goalkeeper. So, yeah, I'm gutted. Yeah, I am genuinely gutted. Yeah, we were exhausted and not lucky. Yeah, I don't think the luck was in for us today, but sometimes we've got to go and make our own luck. And I think there was a couple of moments where, with the better decisions, we really could have done something in that second half. Yeah, let's try and find the chat is absolutely blown up. I've still got 5,500 of you watching, so thank you if you are. What's that chat saying? Something about the system, lads. Sorry, the chat's just going absolutely bonkers, so I can't quite see. Have the question, the system, lads. We were on the ropes for 90 minutes. I don't think we was on the ropes today, though, not in the same way we was when we was in Paris. I thought we was a lot better. Yeah, Roman Casillas says, worst managerial performance from Slot. He got outplayed. Yeah, I think, and you know, maybe that was one thing that I don't know, because I think over the way that Slot managed the league phase of the Champions League, he did excellent. We only lost the one game, and it was already at a point when we was already through and gone clear in the draw. I think we get really unlucky drawing PSG because we've just seen how good of a side that they are over the course of 180 minutes. But I don't know. Maybe that's something that we may need to look at in Slot at some point. Do you know what I mean? And next year there will be more eyes on how he performs in the Champions League and navigating us out of the group phase again and getting us into the last 16 and so on and so forth. right? Do you have what it takes? Are you a Unai Emery kind of manager that can deal with the those European games? Is that not your bag? We don't know yet. I don't really think this is a really fair acid test for that, if that's the right thing to say. Yeah. Alex says there's a good chance for Mbappe to win the Ballon d'Or. I mean, yeah, I think Salah would have. Salah had to go on as part of this Liverpool team. We had to go on a run in the Champions League after the knockouts. To get knocked out in the last 16, it will hamper Salah's standing in the Ballon d'Or. Maybe I think. Yeah, playing for pens and then subbing off our best pen takers. Yeah, I think there's something in that as well. I think Szoboszlai should have been on to take a pen. I had Curtis Jones as one of my pen takers, and I backed him to score, and obviously he doesn't. Yeah, Connor Sweet has had a rather lost in the 90 minutes. Yeah, when you lose like that in the end, yeah, you probably would. There's a super chat that's just come in as well. Thank you. It says, if that's what the Champions League is going to be like, just give me the League Cup and the Prem. My heart can't take that. I don't want to risk any injuries at this stage. Yeah, and hopefully, obviously, the injury to Trent or him coming off in Kanate isn't too serious. But that's it, isn't it? That's the idea now. We've got a cup final on Sunday, and that's what we need to get the lads up for. And yeah, we've kind of got to turn our attentions to that. It's going to be difficult because, look, at the end of the day, we're in a really good. And I had this thought the other day that this week could be the end of our season, not in the sense that everything would fall away, but if we didn't make it through the Champions League, there's no more European games for the rest of the season. Whatever happens on Sunday happens, and that's it. We're not in the FA Cup, and the league is pretty much wrapped up. In terms of those big, real high-stake games, this was the week for it. We couldn't really future plan any others after this. You've got to go and do the job on the pitch, and as a result, now we haven't got any more high-stake games. I don't feel anyway. I think the league is all but done. I think it's just a case of a formality. Go out there and win the games we need to win by the margin we need to win by, and we'll be crowned Premier League champions, which is absolutely fantastic, by the way. But also, there's a League Cup final, and once that's done, that is going to be it. So there was a real opportunity to go for the Champions League, and Southampton game on the weekend, we fucked around in that game. Let's just be honest. We was too arrogant. We fucked about in that game. We ended up having to exert too much more energy than what we probably would have liked. And then this game has just gone over to 180 minutes. It's an absolute battering for the energy levels and everything else that comes with it. So Andy Addison says, Errol, this season is positive. Let's just get the league party started after the win in the cup on Sunday. Yeah, and that's it. I think if the lads now can go get in the headspace that they need to go and win a cup, bring the feel-good factor in, and just bring in one piece of silverware and chase down another piece of silverware in the Premier League, there's no doubt about it. This has been an absolutely fantastic season for Slot and his lads in the first season of him being here. But at the same time, that being said, this will feel like a kick in the teeth, and this is going to hurt for the moment, really. Boy, it is difficult. I've missed so many super chats. I might have made the chat absolutely flying by, so I am sorry if I have missed any. But Sorbo scored 19 out of 20 penalties in his career, yet Slot takes him off and sends the heavily criticised Darwin and Jones to shoot pens. Bad decisions. Yeah, and Slot doesn't typically make that many bad decisions, but yeah, again, I would have said that wouldn't have been the best choice. Do you know what I mean? I know Dominik Szoboszlai looked like he was out on his feet, but again, this just comes down to the game management of the last couple of games for Liverpool, really. The Southampton game in particular. If we do our job in the first 45 minutes, we've got a 45-minute break. PSG rested all of their lads, and even they look tired as well. So asking the lads to go to the well, it's not a situation we found ourselves in a lot this season, but we've had an intense period of games where they've really come thick and fast, and then being able to say, yo, let's go again now when you really need it and you need a result. My biggest disappointment from tonight, and I'll be 100% honest with you in this sense, just let me get this as well. Pens, though, it's a lottery. Stop with the negativity. For fuck's sake, that you never walk alone. We've got another chat there that says, Mo was crying after the game. My question is why he had the whole 120 minutes and he's done absolutely nothing at all. Well, that kind of leads into my point. My biggest disappointment tonight is the fact that we didn't score a goal in 90 minutes. Whether that was from a set piece, whether that was from open play, creating a moment of magic. I thought Trent in the second half was really in his bag for a good 10-15 minutes. I think his injury massively changed things. I think Jarell Quansah does really well, so credit to him. There's another super chat there, so I'm just trying to grab them while they come in. People just calm, so much overreaction. 15 clear, you never walk alone. Yeah, thank you for that, Squeezy. And I think that's what sits with me. It was just the fact that we didn't necessarily take the chances, and to be honest with you, create good enough chances. Really, I thought Donnarumma in the second half, he parried things and made himself big in front of goal, but he didn't have to make really great shots or save any really good shots either. So it was a really, really difficult one to take, if I'm being honest with you, and that's why, for me, that's where my frustration creeps in, because it's like I expected goals tonight from both teams, to be honest with you. I know PSG do get one, but I expected it to be more quality in front of goal. You know, they'd score one, we'd score one, and we'd kind of peg each other back, and then they'd be chasing another goal, so there'd be more space for us to exploit, and it didn't develop that way. It turned into a bit of a basketball game, but fair play to both goalkeepers, of course, across the course of 180 minutes. Both of them stood up tall and done their jobs. Obviously, Donnarumma did excellent in the penalty shootout. But I just think in the final third, and that's probably one area where I think in the Premier League we've got away with it. I think Cody Gakpo not being fully fit hampered us in this tie, to be completely honest with you. It probably come at the wrong time for him. There's another super chat. Gutted for Darwin. We go again next year. You never walk alone. Yeah, I'm absolutely devastated for Darwin. But Cody Gakpo not being fit after being such an informed player for us up into his injury was massive. I don't particularly think Jota or Diaz, as much as I love Diaz and Devon, and in the second half he looked a lot better, I just thought he was lacking a little bit. This is football says, PSG, a world-class team, and we took them to pens. Slaughter still in his first season at this level, and as was 15 points clear. How can you question him? That is beyond a joke. Yeah, and I wouldn't, I don't know what the chat's saying, because as I say, the chat is absolutely on fire right now, and thank you very much for staying tuned. This is your show, so I do want your reactions. We can ask questions, and there can be a little bit of an inquest, but I think you have to kind of compartmentalise it. The Champions League is very different from the Premier League, and that's the first time we've been in a knockout situation over two legs with Arne Slot, and I think he'll take it as a big learning, and I hope he comes back better for it. I said, yeah, well, yeah, come on, yeah. And it is very difficult for him to take, but it's going to be something that next season, I think, he kind of makes a little bit of pressure, or he has to make that a little bit of an opportunity to say, right, I've learned from my mistakes, because it's going to be a whole 12 months before he gets to go back on this same horse and be in a position of being in the last 16. Hopefully the draw's a little bit kinder to him, but at the end of the day, Champions League, if you want to beat the best, you've got to beat the best. You've got to beat the best, really. And for me, we haven't done that. Yeah, this is another mad one. Why didn't you try Chiesa? Gakpo didn't look ready. And yeah, it just kind of says everything you need to say, really, about that whole Chiesa transfer. I've been very clear on my position on Chiesa since we signed him, and he's done nothing to disprove what I said at the start of the season. It was a stupid decision. We thought, yeah, we're getting a bargain and he might come good, but he hasn't. In the moments, as I said, this week was the biggest week for us as a football club, and we couldn't start planning beyond this week. And if he weren't ready to take part in this week, what was it for? It's been for absolutely nothing. So I'm frustrated that he's not been able to contribute to this league season. Don't give him a Premier League medal. I'm sorry, don't give him one. And I'll say that now. He doesn't deserve one. He's not done nothing. And I feel sorry for a couple of the other lads, really, that have absolutely ran the socks off, and we've come up short in the last moment. Lewis says, it is what it is. Game could have gone either way, and it just wasn't our day. Easier to accept this season with us being in pole position for the league. Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And as I said, I think the winner from the competition comes from this group. I want to see Enrique's lads go the distance now. Go and beat Real Madrid. Go and beat a Barcelona. Go and beat an Inter Milan. I think they've got a fantastic chance of winning it. Obviously, they'll come up against a strong Aston Villa side, but they'll have a lot of firepower again, and Aston Villa are going to have to defend for their lives. After that, it could be Atletico or Real Madrid, or potentially an Arsenal team. So, yeah, we have to dust ourselves off and go again, because it wasn't the Liverpool I was expecting to see tonight. Let's be honest. We're going to win the league, but Richard Hughes is a massive summer ahead. Improvements are required. Yeah, I think they are, and as I say, that's where the improvements are going to be. That's the golfing class. You can look comfortable in the Premier League, and you can do your job, and you can have a 90 points plus season on the horizon. But when you come into that Champions League, it's about killers. It's about star players. It's about players that back themselves and believe in their source. And I think a lot of our players, especially in the final third, are really good individuals, but are having to play within a system and don't necessarily have that freedom. Salah was the outball a lot today, but he wasn't as effective as he's been in the Premier League. And the other two just look blunt, to be completely honest with you, for large parts. Diaz comes to life in the second half. But again, for me, that type of performance from Diaz, I would have liked to have seen that off the bench. That kind of high octane, loads of energy, direct running at him over the course of 90 minutes. If you're not delivering something, you're not putting something on a plate, there's no end product. I'd rather him be the bench option. I'd rather Diaz be the first person you turn to off the bench and say, yeah, you can come on and absolutely do your thing and pull strings now, because plan A hasn't worked. You can be plan B. I just don't think he is or can be as effective enough to be good enough to be considered the first choice left winger. I just think I've seen enough of it now, to be completely honest with you. I thought the midfield tonight was really good. I thought Maka was excellent. I thought Szoboszlai worked his socks off. In terms of the gulf, PSG were head and shoulders above our midfield last week. I thought our midfield really pulled them back and got them back to a real parity. I think defensively, the lads did a really good job. There's only one real big clanger of a moment where it's a mistake, and I said we didn't have to be perfect. We just didn't have to shoot ourselves in the foot. We do shoot ourselves in the foot, which is gutting. Do you know what I mean? But for me, it's the attack. It was the bluntness in attack that really hampered us. Really hampered us. And again, do you start with Núñez and hope that you ride the wave and Núñez causes enough havoc, tires enough legs out that you can bring a Jota in with somebody? I don't know. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, but I think from a Liverpool perspective, they are just going to have to dust themselves off, really dust themselves off, and yeah, we've got to go again. We've got to get back on the horse rapid, bro. There's no two ways about it. We've got to do it rapid. And people kicking off about Núñez and stuff like that, I'm like, yo, I'm past it now. Like our season is going to end in such a beautiful way, and it's going to be a special season regardless. Like, it's bittersweet that I'm in this moment, because on one side I am devastated, and I feel like the Champions League for Liverpool just holds so much weight, and we always fancy ourselves in it. But the Premier League has been the holy grail for so long that I think we're just so accustomed to like that being just out of reach, and it's here, it's in front of us. So this summer's going to be great, no matter what. All of these players, the players that I rate, have all contributed towards us getting the Premier League. That was the ambition. That was the goal. So all the hard work and all the heavy lifting's been done. Let's just start enjoying the season for what it is now, because we should be in party mode from here on out now, because the league's going to be done and we've got a League Cup final on the weekend. Everything should feel like we're in a party mode. Champions of England in the chat, getting put out. That's how it should feel. That's the top and bottom of it for me now. And in a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, we can kind of breeze past this and have a bit of a smile on our face, hopefully, because we can start focusing on parades. We can start focusing hopefully on already having one trophy to parade about, and knowing that in it's only a matter of weeks before it's all but confirmed that we'll have at least 2 trophies this season. So we've just got to be grateful that we're in this position. We was fortunate enough. Yeah, I don't know about the atmosphere. But right now, yeah, John's right. All of that, C-Mac's right. That will come out. Right now, we're hurting. And right now, I'm hurting as well, bro. But I'm trying not to get lost in being hurt and being like, this player's this, that player's that. Like, bro, it's a long season. And, you can look at certain things that we've done throughout the season that doesn't make us the full complement yet to be able to compete on all 4 fronts. And maybe that's where Slot now says, right, I've earned enough credit in the bank. I need X, Y, and Z. If I'm gonna take on a revamped City, take on another Arsenal that want to go again, if I'm going to take on the PSGs that have a very young PSG, bear in mind, if they don't get it over the line this season, they're going to be knocking on the door again next year. Barcelona look like they've just found a new groove. Real Madrid have just built a super team all over again. If this is the bracket that he's going to be competing in for the top honours year on year as a Liverpool manager, he is going to be need to be backed. So it's massive that now the club going back him. Sunday is bigger now, but let's support Nunes and Jones. Yeah, absolutely, lad. Like I'm not here to berate any of the lads tonight. Like I'm disappointed in a couple of them, and I could single them out. And what's the point? Do you know what I mean? Like as a one-off game, I'm devastated. As I say, I'm devastated that we didn't score a goal and do enough in front of goal over the course of 90 minutes. Like that's where I'm more devastated. Depends. It is a bit of a lottery. Could we have kept different pen takers on? Yeah. But it's the 90-minute performance for me where I'm just like, there was a real chance there, and we allowed PSG to just stay in it. And by the fact that, they're in. Michaela, sorry, I've missed the super chat. If you fire in a normal chat and I see it now, I will read it back out. I didn't do it on purpose. I am sorry. I said it to my cousin yesterday, winning the Premier League won't be enough for Mo to win the Ballon d'Or. We would have had to get that. Yeah, well, I think you have to go on a run in the Champions League. You can't get knocked out in the last 16 and be considered for a Ballon d'Or. Mohamed Salah could go and put some crazy stats up between now and the end of the season, and it just won't be enough. So I think his Ballon d'Or hunt is ended tonight as well. And again, that happens. But then the breaks, you've got to turn up on the biggest stage, lad. Mo Salah doesn't score a goal. He gets hooked at the end of the first half. First leg gets hooked because he probably dropped his worst performance of the entire season for us. And then in this game, he doesn't produce the quality moments. He doesn't have that composure in front of goal. He doesn't produce the magic. So if you can't produce in the biggest moments, yeah, and that's it, Michaela. Thank you. So that was the super chat. Thank you very much from that before. You never walk alone, and that included everyone. Exactly. 100%, girl. And that's for me. Like, if you don't produce in the biggest moments, you are at risk of missing out on the biggest trophies. Salah is a super professional. He will be back, and he will be back and better. I think there was a couple of moments where we was probably a little bit unfortunate with decisions that the referee chose to not give us. But you can't take nothing away from PSG. PSG was just excellent from back. The fact that they kept a clean sheet at Anfield, same way we kept a clean sheet at their place, and then took us into extra time, still dug in deep, and then decided to, do what was needed. The pens, it was just massive for them, absolutely massive, and you could see what it means. So I hope PSG go the distance now and actually get the W, because then it's kind of bittersweet again. You go out to the team that ultimately win it. But yeah, I think that's it. Again, Avil says we looked a little bit toothless up top, and I agree. Luke says, as much as a Mo is amazing, I do think we need to move on from him and change this up, Errol. So I'll come back to that. There's been a members chat there. We were beaten by the best team in Europe, and we will win a double. So proud of the Redmen. Hope the injuries weren't too bad. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know if we need to move on from Salah. My reservation from moving on from Salah is, if we move on from Salah, the only one that I want to keep is Gakpo. Then what? Do you know what I mean? And I'm being real with you. Like, if we move on from Salah goes on a 3 anyway, so it's not about a sale, but he'd be out of the door. He'd be out of a contract. I'd want to sell Diaz. I could understand why they would entertain offers for Darwin. Not necessarily somebody that I would sell, but fair enough. If they wanted to sell him, they'd sell him. And then Chiesa's, he's just useless. There's no point in even saying his name in a serious football conversation right now because he's not a footballer, lad. What do we do in that situation? So I think we're really torn now. There's a question there. What do I do now? I'm meant to go to work in the morning, just gutted. Don't know what to do with myself. Gutted, Arsenal fans so loud right now. That's why I'm glad I'm here with you and I'm not online in any other space because, yeah, I don't think I could. My phone's been blown up. I don't really think I could deal with it, to be honest. I'll just go home and turn it all off. It's 11 o'clock as well, so it is getting late. How am I still protecting Darwin? It's not about protecting Darwin. It's just the reality of the situation. If we was to sell Salah, who are in that front line, do we keep? What do we do in that situation? So, yeah, another super chat there. I love Nunes and Jones, but it was wrong to put them up on the penalty orders, given their temperaments. Cooler heads were needed. Maybe, yeah. But there was some tired players. They had the fresher of the legs. I'm gutted we didn't go for that Kratchevelevic or whatever, however you pronounce it, in January. I'm gutted. He was the difference maker for either team, and he could be the difference maker that wins you a Champions League. He could be the reason that PSG win a Champions League this year. And I think he could have done the exact same for us if we would have gambled it and seen it as an opportunity. But yeah, I feel like I need to go over to the board in a moment. He says, I'm feeling pretty robbed. The semi-automated VAR showed Barcola offside for the goal. Didn't look at it. The pen in the first half didn't look at it either. The semi-automated VAR showed Barcola. I'm sure I seen a replay of him being onside, but again, I haven't seen too much afterwards, so it says it is what it is. Anyway, up the Reds. Yeah, champions of England in the cup final this weekend. Let's not do the throw this player under the bus shit. You never walk alone. And that's what I'm trying to avoid, to be completely honest with you. As I say, it's very easy to be very emotional and just fly off the handle because I've got a mic in front of me and I've got the best part of nearly 2,500 people still listening. But for me, it's just not worth it. Not tonight. I'm not going to punch down on lads that have absolutely given me one of the best seasons I've had in a long time. I said at the start of this season in particular with Slot that I was just going to take it game by game and enjoy it for what it is, and I've enjoyed more than I've not enjoyed definitely this season, and I'm going to continue to do that. We're about to close in on the Prem. We've got a final coming up. It just wasn't meant to be this year for us in the Champions League, and I hope Slot's hurt by that, to be honest with you. I genuinely hope he takes that really personally, and like, you know, the Forest thing from the beginning of the season where everyone was like, oh, that's living rent-free in his head. I hope this lives rent-free in his head now for the next 6-7 months when he's looking across Europe and he's seeing these opportunities and the next big players are coming up and he sees a Kratchevelevic or whatever and he thinks, oh, I could have had that in January. Next time I'm not just going to be so chilled and reserved. I'm going to just run at the opportunities and take it. So Slot's going to have to learn from it. I think it was a little bit of mismanagement. I think it was a little bit of lacking clinical edge and a little bit of quality. And I think we had a moment really where we absolutely just shot ourselves in the foot. But outside of that, I'm not going to be overly critical of what Liverpool have done as a whole this season. Yeah, I think it's time to go over to the player rankings. So let's try and treat the game in isolation and with these rankings as well, guys, because yeah, why not? I think it's going to be difficult. So yeah, stick with me and I'll head over there right now.